Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Morning Open. It is July 27th, 2023, 9:21 a.m. And in the United States of America, our economy is growing at 2.4% quarter over quarter, which means that GDP growth is actually phenomenal right now. This is the picture I want to share before we get into it. This is a picture Chris just shared on his Twitter. These numbers are just absolutely insane. GDP growth quarter over quarter, 2.4%. Consensus thought we would grow at 1.8%. We beat it by about 6 basis points. Core durable goods, we came in at 0.6% up month over month. Initial jobless claims, we thought we would have 235,000 people unemployed. We only have 221,000 people unemployed, which means we beat by 14,000 jobless claims, showing that the job market is still fine. GDP price index quarter over quarter came down, which is good as well, because that means consumers have to pay less. Durable goods and orders up 4.7%. We thought it would be 1%. Goods trades balances down 87 billion when we thought it would be down 91 billion. This is one of those reports, as Chris says right here, feels like we might actually end up with a soft landing. If Jerome Powell and Yellen pulls this off, this is going to be in line as one of the greatest Fed chairs, maybe on par with Volcker. After the United States printed $7 trillion and overstimulated the economy in 2021 and 2020, for us to be able to navigate the type of waters we are navigating by raising interest rates but not having an economic implosion is just nothing short of phenomenal. And it seems like Jay Powell so far is figuring out how to do it, which is pretty interesting. And let's see if he can keep doing it and get it done. Kent, hello. Seth Roth, Chris Link. Do I stay for a minute to change over the live congressional hearings on UAPs or UFOs? Bro, I haven't even kept up with the UFO stuff, but I did watch Oppenheimer yesterday and I have some thoughts on it. So we're going to talk about that. Monty, Damien, Martin Pilda, Jose Lopez, T, Jubei, SJ, Fernando, Astricus, Kevin Smith, Joel Mandin, Lars, Juan Carlos, John Shorts, Johnny, Joseph, Charles, Ren, Admike, Haynes, Test Cap, Fatty. Thank you all for being here. Jess Abraham, Ren, T, Randall Rains. Thank you all for being here. All right. We've got a green market in the pre-markets. We've got a pretty green market in the pre-markets. Why do we have a green market in the pre-markets? Because the entire stock market is surprised that after raising interest rates by 25 basis points, we are still able to put up the numbers that we were able to pull up. Natalie, Joshua, Iraz, Socrates, Roke, thank you all for being here. And as a result of that, market's mooning. The market's like, wow, this is a pretty good economy. Look at that. Google, 131 in the pre-markets. S&P is at 459 in the pre. That is the 2023 high for the S&P 500 in the pre-markets today. We're close to touching 460. We touch 460. We are just a little bit away, less than 10% away from 478, which is the all-time high on the S&P 500. Palantir up 2% in the pre-markets at $16.81. NVIDIA up in the pre-markets up 2% as well. Enphase up 1%. NVIDIA now at 464. SoFi 971 in the pre-markets. This news that came out, Meta 325. Obviously, Meta earnings were just phenomenal yesterday. User growth is still amazing at 3.07 billion. Revenue growth is phenomenal. They said Reels is likely going to be a $10 billion business over the next couple of years. It is on track to be 10 billion. It was on track to be 3 billion 12 months ago. So, I mean, and why is Meta's earnings so important? Remember, Meta is the advertising center for the entire planet. Definitely the United States. So if people are advertising on Meta, that means products and services, goods are being circulated, consumers are choosing to buy. So Meta's earnings, it doesn't matter if you own Meta stock or you don't own Meta stock. This is a company that you need to do well. Even if you hate Meta, you need Facebook to do well. Because if they're not doing well, that means advertising is not happening, which means economic momentum is not on the side of the consumer, which means we're likely seeing more chances of a recession, unemployment being high, et cetera, et cetera. So Meta doing well really is just one of those stocks that holds up the entire economy. And this was a good earnings. I mean, from all the minutia of the numbers I saw, this was not just one of those earnings that, they cut jobs and that's why their numbers look better. No, they actually improved substantially in terms of their growth. I think they're growing 11% year over year as well, which is just amazing for Meta. So it's really good. Kevin says, I think inflation is fixing itself. That money started businesses and stacked savings now is the slow. Yeah, I agree with that as well. The one thing about savings is that consumers are, from the savings reports I was reading, is that consumers have their lowest savings that they've had in like 40 years. And that's one of those things where if things get a little iffy, people don't have that much savings, that you get delinquencies, defaults, etc. But it doesn't seem like we're at that level, given the fact that the job market is so tight. Or tight meaning good, right? Because that means it's competitive. So if that's the case, it's not really the worst thing in the world, given what we have going on. Spotify recovering from its from 169 being down to 150 from 1 to 146, now up at 151. All stocks are likely going to get a little bit of boost given where the economy is right now. These high frequency trading algorithms are buying. PayPal earnings on August 1st, so we're about 5 days away from that. 74.3 up 1.18% in the pre-markets. And we'll see where it continues to go from there. All right, we got 3 minutes till the market opens. I have 5 shares of Enovix, 75% up. So should I sell it? Enovix had a really good earnings. The answer is if you need the money, sure. If you want to just let it ride, then you keep letting it ride. Enovix earnings were actually really good. Remember, this is a company that's worth almost $3 billion, and they produced $42,000 of revenue. So when you're buying Enovix, you're buying it really for the potential growth. You're not buying it for any of the fundamentals. So yeah, I mean, with your 5 shares, either you do CA or you continue to hold. It's up to you. I don't have a position in Enovix, but this is one of those communities that I can see having a very cult stock. Maybe not as cultish as Palantir or Tesla, but for the level of unknownness that it has throughout the world, the people that actually care about it is pretty substantial, especially on Twitter. PayPal prediction, hopefully 125 by January 2025. 125, I think, is reasonable. It's in the middle of where it was at from the intrinsic value and sort of the overreaching of 100 and 150. So I think hopefully 125 is not that bad. What did you see about their earnings that was good? Really just management saying that they're on track to grow and they're on track to produce as much as, was in expectations or a little bit more from what I understand. You're trusting TJ Rogers with this one. He is the genius that brought Enphase from, for those that don't know, I mean, Enphase was going out of business in 2017. They were at 93 cents. This is what TJ Rogers did. Sorry, 65 cents. They're at 65 cents, and he basically 40x them. Was it $300? So yeah, it's he did what he had to do, right? And so that's why a lot of people trust them with Enovix. And it's also in the battery space. It's exciting, right? So there's a lot of sort of core fundamentals why people are excited about that. Why is Tesla not up? Tesla's run up a lot, so that's why I imagine. Again, when a company's run up, is Netflix up? Netflix got hammered yesterday. Yeah, Netflix is up just a little bit. Tesla's run up a lot. Again, it's hard for it to keep running. It's got to have some more momentum, but it's also up. It's up 1.4%, so it's at 268 from 264. So not too bad for Tesla. But again, some of these guys have run a lot. So the fact that Meta is still running after basically tripling in a year and the market's still giving it momentum. Also, all the price targets are like 450, 400, 500. All the banks came out and they're like Meta to 400. So the banks are on the side of Meta. The upgrades, the analysts are on the side of Meta, which is just great. Meta is one of those stocks you need to do well in a thriving economy. And so it's not doing that bad. All right, here we go. July 27th, 2023. It is officially 9:30 a.m. and the stock market in the United States of America is open. Wake your ass up. Palantir at $16.84, up 2.43%. Do we see 19 today? We will see. It's at $16.83. Tesla, 267, up 1.2%. Netflix, 426, up 0.97%. Enphase, 174, up 0.45%. Enovix, 2223s, up 13%. Just absolutely amazing. Enovix just doing a great job post their earnings. Google at 131, QQQ at 383, up 1.51%. S&P at 458, so it opens up 0.75%, up 3 points. Just a little bit under where it was in the pre-markets, but still a 2023 high for the S&P as we open the bell. We've got Palantir at 1673. We've got Robinhood at 1286. So Robinhood hit 13 in the pre-markets. So Robinhood was there, hitting a little bit above 13 in the pre-markets. We'll see if it continues to get there. Truist is at $33.46, up 0.3%. DNA, Ginkgo Bioworks at $2.50, up just a little bit, up 2.58%. ARK at 49.17. So ARK hit 50 the other day ago. Then it hit back down to 46. Now it's at 49.19. ARK is one of those that should benefit in a thriving economy. As long as some of her picks benefit. So we'll see what happens with ARK. NASDAQ, 14,314. I think that's just below the 2023 high of 14,444. So the NASDAQ down just a little bit from that, but still up phenomenally for the day, gaining 177 points. Banks are doing well. Bank of America is up. Wells Fargo is up. JP Morgan is up. All the banks are flying. The airlines are down just a little bit. Taiwan Semiconductor up 1.68% as well. Not bad for them. Let's go to NVIDIA. What is in Datadog at 112? We were looking at Datadog yesterday on one of the streams, and they have a lot of debt, which is what was confusing me. They have like almost $1 billion in debt, and they have $2 billion in cash, but I was confused why they have so much debt. NVIDIA at 464, opening up at 2.26. Another piece of news that was very important today is that the European Central Bank raised interest rates as well. Let me just pull that up right here. Yeah, from the Wall Street Journal, the European Central Bank rose interest rates. They keep options open for path forward. So they pretty much did the exact same thing as JPOW did. They raised it by a quarter percentage point, and that also might be good just to calm inflation down. So the markets might be factoring that as like one of those things that is good for the overall macro. Given what we have going on. Palantir at $16.78. Palantir earnings on August 7th. Roblox is up at $40.76. Amazon was down at $126. It bolted up today at $131. I think, does Amazon have earnings today? I think Amazon might have earnings today. Amazon earnings. I know Apple. Is Apple earnings today? No, Apple is next week. Amazon is it going to be today? I think it's going to be today. Someone let me know on that. I might be wrong on that, but if that's the case, then we're gonna get Amazon coming up today. TDoc up near 30 after I sold at 25 for a loss. Yeah, what was the catalyst on TDoc too? This one exploded yesterday. See that massive green candle, and I didn't know why. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, there's the 1 month. So they were stuck at 22, and they drove up to 29.41. This is another one that Kathy has a very big position in. Now, look, it's only 4.8 billion, so it's a smaller company. This was a company that was in like the 200s at one point. I remember, 300. They took a goodwill impairment charge right around here at 155, and that's when they collapsed to 30. Like 155 to 30 happened like it was in a couple months. It just got demolished. So this is the one she's taking some massive L's on, but she still continues to hold the position and keep it up. Where's Roku? Roku at $72.93, up 1.93%. So Roku's not doing too bad either. Roku continuing to go up just a little bit, but it needs to go a little bit more higher to get to Kathy's break even. Snapchat continuing to be down at 1064. Snapchat getting no love. There are no dip buyers for Snapchat being down 20%. No one thinks, is there an opportunity here? Microsoft is up as well at $340. All right, not bad. Not a bad open. We had a green market, folks. We got Amazon is August 3rd. Okay, August 3rd. August 3rd. I thought for some reason I thought it was today. So what do we have today? Let's go into the earnings calendar. What do we have today? I know we have Enphase today. So that one is that one's important. Enphase is today. I don't know if we're streaming that one. We might be. I think we'll see, but we might be. What else do we have today? Do we have McDonald's today? Yes, we have McDonald's. We have Enphase. I think McDonald's already went. So we have Comcast. Let's see if McDonald's went. McDonald's earnings. Here we go. Okay, let's look at McDonald's. This is I guess this is important for the American economy to remember how obese we all are. This is all important. That's an important thing. All right, McDonald's beats Wall Street estimates for its second quarter earnings with revenue. The chain Grimace birthday meal helped drive customers to U.S. Restaurants. Same store sales grew 11.7%. Revenue was $6.5 billion versus $6.27. Earnings per share $3.17 versus just killed it on EPS. Absolutely amazing. Killed it on that. Fast food giant reported second quarter net income of $2.3 billion, up from 1.9. Wow, last year, 2022, they were making $1.19 billion a quarter. They doubled that. They more than doubled that. $2.31 billion. Or just around double. Is that exactly a double? Or that's just below a double. It's like 94%, something like that. Wow, that is phenomenal. So this is another sign, at least in the U.S. economy, that the consumer is willing to buy. The consumer is willing to spend, even if it's on food that is going to kill you. Like the consumer is ready to spend, and McDonald's is ready to profit off of that. They're also introducing some AI stuff to help personalize the recommendations for when you go to a McDonald's, because they know what you want. So if you're like a McDonald's member, they'll like automatically suggest the thing you want. So even in that part of the economy, AI is having some level of impact, because if you can get to a decision quicker about what you want, you can purchase quicker. And if you can purchase quicker, that's a good thing for everybody. All right, let's hear it. Here we go. We've got our guy, the one that we all love, Jeremy Siegel. Let's see what he had to say about J-Pow. He has consistently said that the Fed should not be raising rates. Let's see what his thoughts are on J-Pow raising by a quarter basis point yesterday.
Now to extend its 13-day winning streak, the longest since 1987. And back then, a gallon of gas cost 90 cents. A gallon of milk cost $2.28. The median home price was $104,000, and the top grossing movie was one of Andrew's favorites, Beverly Hills Cop 2. You like Beverly Hills Cop 1.
I think 1 was my favorite, possibly one of my favorite movies of all time.
I know, you have said that. You have said that. And for more on the market's longest winning streak in decades and the Fed's latest rate hike, let's bring in Jeremy Siegel, professor of finance with the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School. And Jeremy, I look forward to speaking with you because I don't think you're ready necessarily to give Jay Powell like a Nobel Prize in economics, but I think you're coming around a little bit. And you've been a big critic of how tight the Fed was and how loose the Fed was. But now you're changing a little with maybe the notion that they could have orchestrated something pretty good here, maybe in spite of themselves, but maybe they're orchestrating a soft landing.
Yeah, Joe, this was the best news conference I heard from Jay Powell in over a year. I mean, he virtually came close to saying there's balanced risks out there. Not quite, still a little bit more on inflation, but he really acknowledged that there were potential downside risks. He became very data dependent. He talked about, and which he should be. You know, I know there's a couple of doves in voting members. You know, maybe Austin Goolsbee, maybe Pat Harker, a few others that said, you know, there is some downside, and he seems to now acknowledge it. It really was very, very encouraging. And another reason, and you're right, that I shifted a bit of my opinion is I'm looking at forward-looking indicators. The money supply has stopped going down. Commodity prices have stopped going down. Housing prices, measured by the Case-Shiller index and even the federal indexes, have stopped going down. They've turned around and stabilized. So those very high rates that scared me and the market earlier on in the year don't seem to be having as much of a negative effect as I had feared. And that combined with the fact that Powell now is saying, you know, I'm going to look at both sides of the equation, you know, I think is very positive for the markets.
Pretty amazing, Jeremy. And just thinking back on all the conversations we had.
He's absolutely correct. I mean, that Fed meeting, for those that didn't get didn't get to watch the TLDR, is Jay Powell essentially acknowledged that they've raised rates enough. He said it without having to say it, right? Or he kind of explicitly said at one point, he was like, I know we've raised rates a substantial amount. And the tone of his voice was like, yeah, I get it. We've done enough. He also said monetary policy has been restrictive enough. And so he said the next rate hike is truly data dependent. So he's like, I'm not afraid to raise rates again. I just understand the depth at which the economy would have to suck for me to do it. And so if the data does suck, he'll do it. If it doesn't suck, which means it might be bad, but it might not suck like it did in June and in May and April of 2022, then he's not going to do it. And that means that for the end of the year, if he doesn't raise rates and he pauses, there's a good shot, hopefully by February 2024, we get a cut, if not earlier. And if that happens, then we're off to the races. And so what really matters is how quick can we get the data to be good for a cut.
You had when you wanted the Fed really to not go any further. I mean, there was a pause. There were small increments, not 75 basis points anymore. So there was a pretty sharp, certainly the second derivative slowed. And you wanted maybe no more, but they were cognizant of not going too far, doing too much damage. I will tell you one thing that you just nailed, and you've been criticized in the past, Jeremy, for being a perma-bull. I don't know how anyone can be criticized when the Dow went from 780 in 1981 to where it is now. Let's see, should I be a perma-bull? Maybe that's a good way to be. But you have been criticized for that, but you nailed the October lows. You said this is a new bull market. We're going higher. It's not going back down to test them. And you've been saying that all along.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just didn't see anything that smacked of a recession.
So an academic outperformed all of the highly paid sell side schmoes on Wall Street, basically.
Yeah. Although I certainly am surprised, at the upside. Again, I thought maybe 15% this year. No, we're closer to 20 and going up now. We talked about the fact that the so-called cyclical and value stocks, which now I think have an opening, because I think the soft landing scenario is definitely more possible than or if you want to know the truth, I think even Chairman Powell is surprised at how little effect there has been on employment so far. The Fed still has to be very alert. It still has to be, looking at all the indicators, and that's what he said he's going to do. We are coming in, and we all know this, coming into an election year. I mean, the biggest thing is going to be, if he lets that unemployment rate go up, if we get weakness in the labor market, that's going to have more devastating effects now than inflation, which is mentioned less and less by the public as a problem. So,
now this is the big thing Siegel is saying right here. So a couple of months ago, what really mattered was inflation being the biggest thing that was on the consumer's mind. And Jay Powell had to make sure that we actually had more unemployment so that we would have less inflation, right? Because more people having money to spend on goods and services means less stimulus in the economy, which means less inflation. Jay Powell has somehow figured out, which is why I give him all the credit in the world, to be able to get inflation to get down to the 3% range, hopefully 2.5 by the end of the year, and not have this massive unemployment type of cycle that everyone is expected. And as a result of that, the narrative, the sentiment has fundamentally changed. It changed just like the narrative on Palantir changed from 7 to 12. The narrative changes here. Now, if you have unemployment, the American consumer is going to say, hey, inflation's down. It's not like if I buy eggs, it's going to contribute to this economy blowing up because of inflation. I don't want to lose my job. And there's an election year coming. So now his job is to actually make sure the economy doesn't go into deflation or something more catastrophic where, the unemployment drops so dramatically that they have to overstimulate the economy. Now he has to just make sure we stay steady. Unemployment continues to either go down or stay normal, and inflation continues to go down. And he's been able to do it so far. But the narrative will switch. 5 months ago, if unemployment was going up, no one would have complained, at least from a academic, economic level, because they're like, all right, that'll stop inflation, and that's the hard choice you have to make. Now it's much different. Palantir's over 17. Palantir's over 17. What? Whoa, that's a catalyst. Someone's buying. S&P also at 459. There we go. Palantir at $17.10. I didn't even see it happen. We thought it might play with 17 today, but there it is, 1706. Now let's see. Hopefully it doesn't get sold off. That's the one thing we don't want to see get sold off. But wow, not bad. So the market's buying it up. The market's buying up some Palantir. Not bad at all. Going into earnings, there's a couple of things I've seen that says the implied move is about 20%, either to the upside or downside. So if Palantir comes in good, we're up 20%. If they are coming bad, probably down a little. Wow, it's still running. 17.15. 17. Look at that. This is what happens when your CEO writes a piece in the New York Times, bro. This was that's why I love investing in this company. Like, how many other people get to wake up in the morning and see their CEO wrote a piece in the New York, an op-ed for the New York Times, talking about this is our Oppenheimer moment. Like, bro, there's not many CEOs that do that. There's just not many CEOs that do that. We have a super chat here. $5. Comcast up 6% thanks to Mario IP. Let's check out Comcast real quick. I actually, the Mario IP did really well, that movie for them. I still never watched it, but Comcast should be up just a little bit. Where is there? There we go. Yeah, Comcast is up. Not bad as well. Comcast is up. Now, here's the thing about Oppenheimer. I watched it last night. I don't know if you guys watched it or not. It was not one of those movies I will watch again. That's for sure. It is not one of those movies I will watch again. Inception was amazing. Wolf of Wall Street was amazing. The Dark Knight was amazing. I haven't gone to the movie since 2019 to watch The Joker. So I decided to take my girlfriend yesterday. I was like, look, let's just go watch Oppenheimer. It'll be fun. And so we went to watch Oppenheimer. And I only went because Christopher Nolan. I support Christopher Nolan. Palantir now dropping a little bit at 1705. But the movie left me a bit like, it was impressive. I just felt like 3 hours was a bit much. They could have cut out at least 45 minutes and made it more exciting. They didn't even show the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and I think they could have simulated with CGI. Like, I've seen YouTube videos simulating what that nuclear bomb would look like, and that, I think, really would have left an impression on the audience. And they just skipped that whole historical event. It was just like a radio call in the movie. And on top of that, I think it was a bit confusing. There were so many moving parts with so little context that I think it needed to be edited a little bit better, quite frankly. So I will not watch it again. It's such a drag in terms of a movie. The acting by Killian was amazing, but it was not one of those that I'm going to be watching again. NVIDIA at 466, Tesla at 267. Let's actually check AMC. It was my first time watching an IMAX movie, which it was cool. It wasn't that impressive, but overall, the movie just felt underwhelming in my opinion. AMC now down at 0.94% as well. Palantir at 1709. So good movie. Won't watch it again. Was a bit underwhelming. Inception was better to me. So I think it was better. Dude, ruined it for all of us. What did I ruin? You don't even... You don't know that they dropped a bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki? You don't know that they dropped a bomb? Did I ruin that for you? No, there was nothing. It's a historical event. There's nothing to ruin. Like, if you read the biography of Oppenheimer, you already know this movie. I didn't even read the biography of Oppenheimer. It's just a historical event. That's all it is. So I don't, unless you guys didn't know, we dropped a bomb on the Japanese because they fucked with us with Pearl Harbor, and Truman was like, they're not gonna fuck with us again. And if you didn't know that, if I'm sorry if I'm ruining it for you, but yeah, like that happened. And oh, by the way, Nazi Germany was a thing as well. And that's what started the research on uranium and plutonium to like, but yeah, sorry for ruining for you. Netflix at 425. Look, overall, the movie wasn't interesting to me. It was interesting, but not interesting. I was actually falling asleep at one point. I remember I started closing my eyes and I was just like, bro, like also the beginning of the movie, the first 30 minutes, it was such a slow start. It's like when you watch a series, an episodic series, and the first episode is like super slow. You're just like, can we get to the point? Like, can we actually get to the stuff that matters? Meta is up 8% right now as well. Meta, wow, $322.30. Let's actually go through some of Meta's numbers. Palantir falling just below 17, 16.98. Still at the $16 range is very nice, but above 17 is a lot to ask for Meta for Palantir before earnings. So we'll see where it ends up. Let me pull up Meta's numbers and we'll talk about those. I almost fell asleep, aka I got too high for this movie. No, I do not smoke. So if I was high during that movie, bro, that would have been insane, but it's not the case. Yo, you guys are saying, did you hang out with your baby doll? Bro, I actually had a girl that I brought to the movies. Like, I don't get why you guys can't believe me on that. Even tweeted about it. Like, everyone on Twitter was like, ha ha ha, he's going with his sister. Ha ha ha. I'm just like, yo, that's pretty insensitive of you guys, to be honest. You should have seen Barbie. Thank you for the $2 super chat, Mr. Seymour Duck. Yeah, I'm interested in Barbie, but bro, what I realized is I haven't been to the movie since 2019 because then COVID happened in 2020. I realized I don't have the patience for the movies. 3 hours of my life sitting there watching movies. Like, also the commercials in the beginning, bro. I was like, get on with it. Get to the movie. I was like, how do people sit through it? Like, I guess it's a lost art for me that I can't, unless the movie's amazing, I can't sit through it. And I don't think Oppenheimer was amazing, quite frankly. I expected more from Christopher Nolan. But I don't want to say it was a bad movie, but I expected a lot more from Christopher Nolan. Like, I am a Nolan fan, and I didn't really, I didn't leave it feeling like this sense of like wonder and excitement and inspiration and like awe. Like, I just didn't feel that. Okay, family daily active people was up 3.07 billion, up 7% year over year for Meta. Monthly active users, 3.88 billion. That means 38% of the entire population on planet Earth is using a Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp product. That or Oculus. That is insane. Increase up 6% year over year. The fact that they're able to grow these numbers is just insane. DAUs 2.06 billion, increase of 5%. MAUs 3.03 billion, increase of 3%. Ad impressions increased by 34% year over year, and the average price per ad decreased by 16%. That is an amazing stat as well, because if you can show more ads but show them for cheaper, then that means more people are willing to pay for advertising, which is just amazing because they're getting a cheaper CPM and you're getting more revenue, or you're getting more inventory of those ads, which is just amazing. Revenue was 32 billion, increase of 11% year over year. Now here's the big thing. They lost, I think, another $3 billion on the whatever you call it, the Meta Reality Labs. If Meta today decides, Meta 52-week high now at 325, if Meta today decided that they were just cut their losses, their bottom line profits would go up by like 50%. If you just do the numbers and you take out all the losses they have on the balance sheet on the Reality Labs. Now, will that happen? Probably not. But if they did, if they just said, hey, look, we're an ad company, we're a social media company, this is the route we're going, I think shareholders would push this stock to like 450. I mean, like they would be so happy that, like, if you've ever wasted money before, just remember Zucks has wasted almost $50 billion developing a metaverse that no one talks about anymore. 50 billion. So if you've ever at one point felt like you've wasted money, you made a mistake, just remember you have never wasted more money than Mark Zuckerberg, but it might end up playing out for Zucks. And I think it actually will. I just don't know to what extent it will, but I do think he believes it's important to innovate because he doesn't want to be a social media company forever. AMD up 2.66% now at 113. Tesla's up, Nvidia's up, Nvidia's touching 470. Look, market's doing well. This is a great market. Again, if you're new to the live stream, if you just came in, GDP growth came in at 2.4%. Initial jobless claims, quarter over quarter. Initial jobless claims came in at 221,000. The market was expecting 235,000. We had one of the best reports we could have ever had for this economy. SMCI at 333 as well, now hitting all-time highs, up 5.23%. This is up more than like 600% for the year. Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And now the question is, what's the catalyst to bring this all down? And I don't know what that catalyst is, but it's probably lurking out there somewhere. But this is when people should be being a little bit more like, all right, so what's going to happen next? Where's the next leg now? Unity is up 6% as well. Wow. Unity almost 7%. That's great. What was the other one I wanted to look at besides Unity? SoFi. I wanted to look at SoFi. Where's SoFi? Is SoFi up at 970 or it's at 964? Where's SoFi? 963. Wow. I was close. I was 1 cent away. All right. So SoFi is up as well. Yeah, look, it's a green market, folks. It's a green market. We got a green market. And that's what we needed. Because if we didn't get a green market off of these numbers, that would be very weird. But we got the numbers we needed. And overall, it's not something that one would be mad about. Like, all of these numbers are just absolutely amazing. Where's Bitcoin? Let's look at Bitcoin. BTC. Where's Bitcoin? Bitcoin. Why isn't it popping up? Where's BTC? Oh, let me type in BTC. Okay, Bitcoin is at 29,466. So it's kind of unchanged, not that different. Not hitting 30,000 yet. So Bitcoin's a bit flat. Look, when growth stocks rally, I imagine Bitcoin rallies as well. So it's just a matter of time before the economy really improves, and then, you know, Bitcoin goes up with everything else that we see going on. End phase prediction. I think we tanked today because Q3 guidance isn't amazing, but everyone thinks we're going to tank. So Q3 guidance might actually be a lot better than what we expect. And if we tank and we finally get to 130, 140, that's when you load up the truck. That's when you really, like, Palantir is worth more than end phase, and end phase is growing like 70% year over year. Palantir is like 18%, right? So, you know, end phase is a small $20 billion company. You load up the truck when it gets down to that 130 level, or even 140, but it has to get there too. And so we'll see if it gets there. The Bears are being freaking crushed, and I love it. Dan, Nathan, and Guy Adam had a it's funny you bring them up. These guys did a podcast yesterday with Mike Wilson. I actually listened to the whole thing. So Mike Wilson is one of the chief equity strategists at Morgan Stanley, and he has stayed out of the entire economy since 2022. He actually called the 2022 decline. He got it right. 2020, he made a call that COVID earnings were going to be good because inflation was going up, stimulation was going up, which means prices would go up. The consumer would be willing to pay it because they get these stimulus checks, and then earnings would go bonanzas for companies, because basically if inflation is going higher and you can raise your prices higher and consumers can afford to pay it, you're going to get a shit ton of good numbers, right? And he was right about Netflix and Google and all these stuff. So he was right on 2020. He's been wrong 2023 because he's felt that inflation has still been a problem. He came out with a news update the other day and said, actually, inflation is not an issue and we were wrong. He says, look, we were wrong. Inflation's actually like inflation's fine, and we should have been in the markets. We were not in the markets starting from December 2022. However, he has a caveat. His argument is there is a shot clock, just like when you're playing basketball, right? And you have a shot clock, 24 seconds to take the shot. He says there's a shot clock until October for the market to crash, about a 10% correction. What is his logic for this 10% correction that he's expecting in the S&P? So imagine the S&P at around 4,000. His argument is that if inflation is going down this precipitously, this dramatically, that means prices are going to have to go down, because like you can't charge $1,500 for a laptop if, you know, the cost of goods of that laptop, cost of commodities to make the laptop all come down. The consumer is not going to pay that much of a premium. They're just going to go to the next person that's paying lower. So the laptop prices have to come down. So if you're Best Buy and you're selling a laptop for $1,500 and you're making like a 7% margin, now you're making a 5.4% margin, your earnings are going to suffer because you have less pricing power because inflation is going down, which means the cost of products has to go down, which means sales numbers have to go down, which means earnings have to go down. So his argument is that in the next 3 months, we will see an earnings recession by Q3 because the prices will have to go down given inflation is coming down. And to me, I'm like, that's a reasonable argument, but we haven't seen any evidence of Q2 earnings being as bad, especially with big tech doing really well. And maybe he said there was like pockets of evidence here and there. Maybe he's right about it, but if he's wrong, he says by October, if this doesn't happen, he's totally wrong. So he's like, I have a shot clock on this being right. And so his argument is right now we're trading at 225 earnings per share on the S&P 500. He expects it to go down to 200 and then rebound to 230 by 2024. The regular market's saying, look, it's just going to be 230 by 2024 without having this massive like decline. And so either he's right or he's wrong. But if he's right, then we're going to see a decline. If he's wrong, then the market's going to continue to go. If you think we tank, why did you buy yesterday? Because we might not tank, right? So for me, I mean, it's a simple DCA strategy, right? If you've got 3,000, you put 1,500 before earnings, you put 1,500 after earnings if it tanks, or if it doesn't tank, then you continue to buy. So for me, I was just like, yeah, maybe it does well. And so that's why I bought a little bit. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of see if he was correct. They will run sales and sales double and earnings will be better. Earnings aren't going down this year. That's another reason why earnings might be fine, right? And so like, I think his argument makes sense, but I don't think it makes that much sense if you take into account consumer confidence and a great job market where people are willing to buy. And so Q3 earnings, if they don't shit the bed by September, October, like or November, when most of them come out, we're going to be in a really good situation in the economy. Like and if inflation's at 2.5, 2.6%, we're going to be in a great situation. So we just have to kind of see where it ends up. What is Philip says, do you want me to send you more Bitcoin? No, you don't have to send me your Bitcoin. You can keep your Bitcoin since you love Bitcoin. So you can keep it. Amit must hate Bollywood movies. I actually like Bollywood movies, but I like the old ones. The new ones are so annoying. I can stand through Bollywood movies with all the singing and music, but if there's no singing and music for 3 hours, it's kind of harder to like get through the whole thing. All Amit cared about. Okay, I'm happy you bring this up. That hat that Oppenheimer was wearing, bro. That fucking hat. Let me pull that up real quick. That hat Oppenheimer was wearing. I'm gonna order one of those, bro. I'm ordering one of those. That was a good hat. I want to wear that in every live stream now. The hat, a shirt, and a blazer. That hat made him look like just like a look at this. Like this looks amazing, bro. Look at this hat. This hat looks so cool. Like, could you imagine just talking about stocks wearing that hat? Like that's just so dope. I also want to smoke cigarettes, even though I don't want to smoke cigarettes, but he looks so cool smoking cigarettes, bro. He looked so cool smoking cigs. But I don't want to smoke cigs because I know it'll hurt my lungs. But it looks cool when he smoked the cigs. So it was pretty cool. All right, everybody. That's it for me. I think that's it today. Good stuff. We got Finance Junkies back at 7 p.m. Got a couple more videos on Palantir coming out. I think we'll do end phase earnings. I think Vitaly's doing it on the Freelance Finance channel. So if you're not subscribed to Freelance Finance, make sure you go to him. If I might join, I might not be able to join, but he's definitely streaming it. So you can check him out around that time. And then at 7 p.m., we'll talk about end phase earnings right after that. Okay. Could you imagine talking about stocks wearing that hat? It'd be cool, bro. I'm definitely going to order one. All right, everybody. Have a good day. Thank you all for being here. Nice GDP report. I'll see you guys at 7 p.m. for Finance Junkies. Have a good one. Bye-bye.